I'm here with Bonnie and Brooke from one agency, or Lindy Harris, one agency in Singleton, and they're going to be answering some questions that have arisen from our clients being really frustrated with purchasing property in around that Singleton, Branxton, greater area. So I guess the first question is, if you want to explain to prospective purchasers and the people just what it's like to purchase property in those areas. I think there's a lot of people getting frustrated because things are moving a lot quicker than what maybe people in Singleton are used to in the more country setting. It's looking very like Maitland, Newcastle, Sydney way of purchasing, with exchanging, with cooling off periods and stuff. So if one of you guys can just explain what the market in Singleton and the Hunter is doing at the moment, that would be great.
Yeah, you want to go? I'm going to go. Thanks for having us, Stace. Yeah, absolutely. We've obviously seen it too, and I think it comes to demand outweighing supply at the moment. Normally in Singleton we're carrying, just between us, we're carrying 50 or 60 listings, and at the moment we're carrying 15. So definitely, and not to mention people moving to Singleton. We're finding a lot of people with COVID wanting to get out of the city and get out of the Central Coast and buying property sight unseen. So there's so much competition out there at the moment, and and we're seeing it from buyers, and we're trying our best to trying to get everyone through a property when we can, but often they're gone in the first couple of days. So I think our advice to people is make sure you're ready to purchase that day. Definitely.
Yeah, so have your finance in place, have your pre-approval, have your team ready, because that's going to give you a better chance of being successful.
Go to the days that you can go and shop around and you've got a property to sell, or you're waiting for a pre-approval to come through because you just will get pipped at the post. You need to be ready to go that day. Definitely. And I too, we were just talking about that before, making sure that you've got your conveyancer in place, making sure you've got your team in place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about, so in relation to inspections, so obviously with COVID, we're still in lockdown where inspections have had to pivot. So there's no longer the big open homes on a Saturday morning that people are used to. People are thinking that you can't go inspect properties, and people, as you said, people are buying sight unseen. People are trying to get out of Sydney and those more busier areas, and they are changing, they're coming for a country lifestyle, and that's something that we haven't really seen before either. Is like you're not just competing people within town anymore wanting to upsize or downsize or get into that property market. You're competing with people that are wanting that country lifestyle that we have here.
Yeah.
So inspections and stuff, there's probably going to be a lot of people that don't want to buy sight unseen, especially a first home owner, or what's classed as a mum and dad. Really hate like a mum and dad buyer that might buy one or two properties, so they've outgrown their current property and they need to go to something bigger. How are our inspections being done now?
So we can do private inspections. There obviously is rules in place as to who can come. You can't bring your extended family anymore. So again, it can be a little bit daunting maybe for a first home buyer. It is genuine purchases only. Most certainly we are seeing more, a little bit more of that virtual inspections, and that is people who are either that desperate to get out of a city that they'll do it, or investors. Money's not really working for people in the bank right now, so it's kind of a good time to be purchasing a property. But absolutely, for your locals, for your families, for your first home buyers, we most certainly are still conducting private inspections. No open homes.
Cool. So there definitely still can be done. It's just you're going with a couple of people as opposed to and I suppose that would be less daunting. I don't know whether that'd be better or worse. An open home, I suppose you've got like heaps of people to be competing with.
I prefer it. I've always preferred private inspections, to be honest, because I think you get a feel for what someone's looking for, and you can, try and find something more so what they're looking for than just, speaking to someone for 2 minutes as they're checking into an open home. So I personally prefer it.
Agreed. Yeah, exactly. We do have that time now for people one-on-one. But again, though, you need to be a qualified buyer in order to get that inspection. Unfortunately, for people who maybe haven't quite got, a pre-approval or aren't ready, may miss out on getting that inspection because there's only so many inspections we can carry out when we're being inundated with inquiries.
And obviously, due to the COVID situation, you know, we are protecting our vendors in making sure that everyone is qualified before they're going through a property. It's just a duty of care. So yeah, my recommendation would be definitely to get a pre-approval in place, get your conveyancer in place, you know, have a chat to Stace and see what that process looks like. I know we talked about that before. Is something else that we're seeing is cooling off periods being put in place on properties to secure that property for them for 10 days. You know, have a chat to Stace and be prepared to sign a contract within, you know, 24 to 48 hours and know what that process looks like, especially for first time buyers that have never done it before.
Yeah, so I guess we need to, like we've talked about it before, like we're normalizing how it is usually done in other like states, like in Newcastle and Sydney, and at the moment, at least in our region, to put an offer on a property, get that sales advice, wait for the contract, go a week or two while you get your ducks in a row, test and build and finance.
Used to be like that, didn't it? You know, 3 weeks maybe. Not anymore.
Like, you just don't have that anymore. And if you do that, then you're going to keep missing out on property. You're going to keep getting frustrated because you're going to just keep going back to, you're going to get frustrated because you're going to keep missing out and stuff. And it's just going to be like Groundhog Day.
And that's probably advice I would like to give buyers as well, is making sure you've got a conveyancer that's ready to move forward that quickly. We have seen people of late miss out on property because their conveyancers are just dragging the chain, and then next minute the property's gone to someone else that's just signed the contract on the spot. So just making sure you're getting the best advice and having someone work for you that's going to be, you know, moving forward quickly.
Yeah. And would you recommend that prospective purchasers, whether they're first time owners or not, contact you to say, hey, I've got my pre-approval ready. This is the type of house we're looking at. We're looking to build. We want some land. We want some acreage. We are growing our 3-bedroom house, and we want like a minimum 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Having conversations with you about that, that would also be beneficial?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Like we've said before about qualifying our buyers. I mean, we unfortunately, if we've got 50 inquiries, we can't necessarily take everyone through. So we do have our database of qualified buyers. We know what they want. We might already have them in mind, knowing it's a right fit for them. That's always going to be an advantage.
Too, I mean, for us, we've got a really interactive database as well. So you can jump on our website, oneagencylindyharris.com.au, and register to be a buyer on our database. You can put in requirements, what you're looking for. And that way, when properties are getting entered into our system, you're getting alerts for everything that might suit those requirements. That's
awesome. A lot of people wouldn't think about that. Either they rely on domain, or I mean, we can't even really, I mean, John Street's like super dead quiet, so you don't even have like those window shoppers looking at your windows and stuff, so that you can. And the thing these days is we've got an off-market portal on our for our registered buyers on our website. So our registered buyers are going to see the properties before they get to the portals of domain. Or that was going to be my next question. So another frustration is clients or something being advertised as off-market. So first of all, it might be good to know what off-market is, and second of all, it's like, okay, well, that was off market and that was sold, and that was, by the time it was advertised, it was gone. Like, that's so unfair. Like, you know, how can they do this? Agents are so misleading, all that stuff. So you can maybe explain that whole off market thing, or even what else is there? There's like a preview. So explain what a preview is. So obviously we know what that is, so the clients see previews. That might really help explain how properties can get sold on an off market and then sold by the time it even hits. So our agency is very big on social media. It's definitely one of our biggest drives for advertising property. So I would definitely recommend to jump onto our Facebook page. You'll see previews go up on properties often before prices are set to gauge interest, things like that. They'll definitely go on an offline section on our website. You can go. There is actually a section you can go to is off-market property. So that'll be property that's been photographed. Maybe there's a price guide or the price hasn't been set. It's a bit of a preview to gauge what interest will be like before we take that to realestate.com and domain. At that point, we'll often be showing people that we've already got in our database and buyers that we're working with that would potentially suit that property to get some feedback. And at that point, it's very likely that the property will go at that point. Yeah, so even more important to jump on your website and register your interest so you can get those off-market opportunities, because if you're waiting, once upon a time you used to just jump on domain and go, oh, okay, cool. So
average time on market 18 months ago was 90 days. lucky to be 90 hours at the moment. Like it's just, people are getting very disheartened. And so we're just trying to do all we can, I suppose, to get our particular buyers their best foot forward, hence our database, hence our social medias.
Yep, and that's awesome advice, because that's just something that we haven't had to do here in Singleton. You would see the photo on your window, or you see it pop up in Domain or something, and it's just not happening anymore because there's just so much more demand than what there are properties available. So
we need to look after the owners of the property, you know, make sure that we're getting the best price and doing things in the right time and not too fast, not too slow either. But there's definitely times where it's the day a property is being photographed. We might take somebody through, like we've got those buyers that we are working with, we know how ready they are, and we might take them through the day it's being photographed, and it might just be sold on that day. We're not trying to disadvantage anybody else, not give them a chance, but if there's someone that we have been working with already and it's the perfect fit for them, that does sometimes happen.
And that's why I would say definitely reach out, you know, Brooke, myself, Lindy, give us a buzz, let us know what you're looking for, so we can either add you to our database or keep you in mind for when property is coming up. Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. So that's going to be a really big help. That were kind of questions that I had, just what the market was like, how inspections are now being done, and tips for people missing out. You know, as we said before, like it's easy to know what we know, and it's really good that we can share as much information as we can with people that are buying and even selling as well. Like if you're trying to sell and buy at the same time, even that process isn't the same as what it was 18 months, 2 years ago. So it's a completely different market. People might not like exchanging with cooling off periods and everything because they're not used to that, especially if they're kind of like home and grown Singo people. So but I know that's going to make a massive difference. We'll make sure we pop your links below so people can jump on your socials and your websites to register their interest. But that was great, guys. Thanks. So something else we thought of before we finished the call was timeframes and how important that is. So you know, kind of back in the day, you'd see a property, you know, a couple of days, I'm working, I can't see the property tomorrow, I can see it on Saturday. Those days have gone too, haven't they? Basically, if you want a property, you need to drop everything and 100%. Be available at that particular time.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Or just, even if you have to send a family member, usually we've got short periods of time, especially with COVID. People are mindful of how much traffic's coming through property. So we might have a half an hour window in, you know, tomorrow to have a look at a property. You need to literally be available because unfortunately the next window, you know, them might be gone. So
are you seeing more buyers agents? So buyers agents are kind of big in like Newcastle, Sydney and new city areas. Is that something that's picking up down here, or that you see, or that you deal with?
Myself, I have never dealt with a buyer's agent in 11 years, to be honest. I think that, you know, we're really lucky that we come from a town that you know, we're trying to help people as much as we can. Obviously, we're working for our vendors as well, but we are trying to honestly do the best that we can by the buyers and find something that will be suitable for them or their family or as an investment property, because we want them to come back. You know, they might need to sell it for whatever reason in 5 years, and we want them to think of us. You know, it is about long-term relationships for us.
And there's a lot of generational stuff as well. So like you made a point that like a lot of our clients are repeat clients, and the clients that refer, like we do generational stuff. Like we'll start with grandparents and then come down to like kids and grandparents. Like we have those relationships with our clients.
Well, Lindy's obviously, you know, been doing this a lot longer than us, but she'll have sold their parent. I think she was a hairdresser for one of the mums, and then she sold their property, and then their kids, and now their grandkids are being referred to her as well. And that's what it's about for us. You know, that's our long-term goal.
Yeah, that's a connection. No, I completely agree. So thanks, guys. I think between the three of us, we've thought of everything.
I just want to go back to the vendor thing, Stacey, because I think this is where the whole problem is going.
100%.
So I just wanted to quickly touch on properties coming to market. I think people are really hesitant to put their property on the market due to COVID. But I think our advice to people, if you're thinking of selling in the near future, I would be doing it now, because there's obviously a very noticeable lack of supply. And that's what's pushing and driving those prices up. You know, something that we're sitting with people in their lounge rooms, and their concern is that they can't find anything to buy, or they don't know where they're going to move. They don't know if they can get where they're going to move. And we briefly touched on this before. There are options available. You know, Stacey, you'd be able to elaborate on this, rather than having a 28-day contract or a 35-day contract and go, oh my God, my house is sold, I've got 28 days to get out. Let's talk about doing a 60-day contract. Let's talk about doing a 90-day contract and giving you that bit of time to then freedom to go and shop for a property or work out what that plan looks like. You know, there are options out there. There's also bridging loans. I know we did a video with our mortgage broker on our socials as well. There's bridging loan options where they will give you a time to secure a property and, you know, make pause or be interest only on one loan, so you can find something, then get that property on the market and look at doing it that way as well.
And again, that all just comes back to having your team ready. Have the conversation. Have had the conversation with your agent, whether you're the vendor or the purchaser. Have had that conversation with your finance provider and your solicitor, your conveyancer, because there are options. It doesn't need to be daunting.
Yeah,
it's education and knowing what your options are.
Yeah, 100%. One of the questions that we ask with our clients is, we got a client selling in Newcastle area at the moment, which is like just as kind of, it's just like here it is at the moment, like buying and selling wise. But one of the questions we've always asked is, what time frame do you want? So contracts can be anywhere between 28, 35 and 42. They can be beyond that. Don't recommend under 28 days. 28 days, aim for an earlier settlement, but like 28 days on contract. I'm going to put my lawyer foot down there. So that's stuff that we ask. And it's like, are you buying and selling? So it's having those conversations and not being scared to have those conversations. Like at the end of the day, we act for a buyer or a purchaser, depending on what's happening. What the matter is, you guys act for a vendor, and you also have the best interest of like vendor and purchaser like us. So being honest, it's so much easier to kind of get things agreed when you're in the negotiation stage than something coming from us saying, hey, our client,
by the way,
sell, they want 90 days, and then they're like, oh well, hang on, no, like I said,
contract with 28 days. Yeah, exactly. No, and you really need to get that sorted from the start, so that we can be transparent about that. We're selling a property, and just so you know, guys, this is a 60-day settlement on this property. If our vendors find something early, we can also look at bringing that forward. But at this stage, we're doing a 60-day settlement, and as long as people know that up front, and it's not a surprise at the end, they're okay. Like depending on the situation,
because they're probably in a similar boat at the moment, like it's so I know just I mean, it can be scary though. Like if it's the first time you bought or it's first time you sold, you think you've kind of got to I don't know, like just not like shut up and just hand you money over but
definitely not.
It's so much easier, and it's always been the case. It's so much easier to get vendors to agree on things from a purchaser's perspective if they need a delayed settlement or subject to sales. Like, is that something that's so subject to sale is obviously at the moment it's probably different to what it used to be. I don't know.
2019.
Yeah, I feel like at the moment it's not just the dollars. The dollars are well and truly coming in right now. When you're presenting an offer, it is the conditions as well.
Yeah.
And 9.9 times out of 10, a vendor will choose the person who is ready.
That's got less conditions then, and we don't mean like conditions as you being painful. Conditions is in like, so I can buy this, but it's condition that I sell my home, or that it's conditioned that
or the settlement period, like all of those things are the conditions as well, which all needs to be upfront as part of your offer.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. And that's
and that might be, and here's a little tip for your first time buyers, that might be in their favor, in that they might be in a rental or staying with family, that they could offer those vendors. And just I would express that to the agent that you're talking to is going, look, here's my offer, and I can offer them a longer settlement period if that helps their situation. They don't obviously have to be out of a house in 28 days, so that could be something that just to have that conversation with the agent that you're dealing with as well.
Because that's definitely something. That's another conversation we have. Is so like, are you renting at the moment? Yes. Are you week to week, or are you on a contract, or whatever the answer is? I'm like, okay, so there's consequences of kind of like breaking leases as well, selling properties with tenants and stuff in them. So just having those conversations and answering those extra questions. I mean, they're just standard questions that we ask. So I don't know what other people ask. That's just our procedure. So, but knowing to ask about those things, and like when to give notice for your property rental, and even like organising removalist trucks. I mean, we can go on for days kind of discussing all of it, but it's just so important that you're spending a lot of money, and this is your first home. Like, it's super daunting. So you need to just be as honest with your team. It's super exciting. I still get really excited.
You don't make it too scary, Stace. It's super exciting.
I think it's exciting when you've had all those conversations already. So you are now
Yeah.
mentally prepared to then start looking, rather than looking at a property and then learning all of this.
Yeah.
That's when it's
Be well
scary. You want to be
informed.
excited.
You want to be well informed, absolutely. And I think, like you said, Steph, it's having the right people in your boat to help support you through that.
Yeah, and it will make it more enjoyable. If you know what the procedures and stuff are, it's going to be so much more fun than you're getting
100%.
frustrated. And
Yeah, 100%.
buying a house full stop is really exciting, whether you're first homeowner or not. So it's just making that process so much smoother.
Yeah, 100%.
For yourself and stress levels and stuff.
Yeah.
So
we love nothing more when people go, that was easy. Yeah, because that's our job. We try and make it as easy as we can.
Exactly right. 100%. 100%. Need your team. So is there anything else from a purchaser or vendor perspective that you guys want to?
No, I think we've covered it.
Sell now, the price is
Yeah,
high.
that
Don't
would
know what's happening tomorrow. Just sell it.
Give me more properties. Show me the properties.
Just reach out. I mean, obviously, due to COVID restrictions, our office door is closed, but we are on the phone. We are working in and out of the office. If anyone needs to catch up or has any questions, just reach out.
Yeah, we're the same. We're behind closed doors. So
okay, that's probably something that we wanted to mention, Stace, is again, people, I had this conversation with someone that's on the market at the moment with another agent, and they are blaming COVID for their property being on market for 80 days. I just really want to stress to people, I've never seen the market like this. It is crazy. It is frantic. And if you were looking to sell, it definitely would be the time. There's been, since our lockdown here in Singleton, there's been 51 properties exchanged in the area. So
since our lockdown for like the past month or whatever.
Yeah, it's past that 3.5 weeks. Exactly. So it's showing that, you know, COVID isn't affecting our market in any way. And I think if anything, it's probably making it more frantic. So if you were considering selling, I definitely reach out, give us a buzz. We'll have a chat and see if the timing's right.
Yeah, it's just a different way of doing it. We've just had to pivot. So, you know, we're still open. We're just behind closed doors. We'd love to open our door.
Doing it differently. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah. We just can't do that, same as you guys. So, you know, there's people that are scared of like selling in a high. Oh, if I sell in a high, like, well, you're selling a high, you're buying a high. So you'd rather sell in a.
It's about the changeover cost, 100%.
Yeah. So it's a big step, but if anyone's looking at buying or selling, please reach out to the guys or the girls at One Agency. Have all those conversations. Follow socials as well, because there's always education tips and tricks there. But Bonnie and Brooke, thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
And see you guys.
Stay safe. Thanks, guys. Bye.